What's up, everyone? Welcome to RotoGrinders NBA Crunch Time. I'm your host, TJ Zwarich. We got the Triple T formation engaged. Perfect timing for some NBA DFS on a Saturday night right before we got NFL on a Sunday morning. Joined by Shiver Me Timbo, my guy, Tasteful Tides, Tim Buell. How you doing, Tim?
Yeah, I'm doing well. The Triple T is back. I'm pretty excited. Yeah, so definitely
like we may have it as a Saturday tradition now.
Right, I know that's pretty awesome. So yeah, definitely a weird combo of games. We got five games on DK. Then I think we got 9 on FanDuel. So it's a completely different slate depending on which site you're playing on tonight. But definitely some good values and some good studs to pay up for. So we'll talk about it.
Was originally had this set for a 7 p.m. start for crunch time, thinking, it's a short little slate, it's 5 games, it's whatever. But with all that, with a 9 on DraftKings, we need that to make sure we got the time, on FanDuel, the time to break it all down. And to help us do that, we got Taylor Smith. How you doing tonight, Taylor?
I am doing well. The sites really couldn't look any more different than they do. We have the Denver situation on FanDuel, which is pretty important for the slate. And all the DK games start within a half hour of each other. So can't really do a ton of late swapping over there tonight, which is not the worst thing in the world, honestly. So should be fun.
Yeah, I was looking at the DraftKings slate, and it's very much like I like a mid-range build. It goes through pretty quick. You don't have to worry about the late swaps, like you said. But on FanDuel, it's a lot easier to get stars and scrubs, especially with that Denver situation. If you're watching us on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe. Make sure you are subscribed to the RotoGrinders page. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our shows. And let's start getting into this one. Position by position, we will start on FanDuel. Taylor, I'll throw it to you first. Who do you like at point guard on FanDuel?
Yeah, so we've mentioned the Denver thing. Jamal Murray being out is a pretty big deal. He had a concussion last night. Is not playing tonight, so we're expecting Russ to jump in the starting lineup. He's only 5,100. He's still a pretty high usage guy, even if he's past his prime. Still good per minute. He's just cheap, and the minute should be fine. And the matchup against Utah is also awesome. So he's kind of a staple in all formats. It's pretty hard to get away from him, I think. We have another situation with Sacramento being without Kevin Huerter tonight in Toronto. Another team with an elite matchup is the Kings against the Raptors. We're expecting Keon Ellis to jump in the starting lineup. Not a great per minute guy, but he is super cheap. 3,900 on FanDuel. I think he's like 3.5 on DK. So don't love it, but he's playable, assuming he does start. In the same vein, Malik Monk, a little more expensive, but should see a few more minutes off the bench. High usage guy as well. You can play him at point guard. The Cavs are playing Milwaukee. It's a rough spot for Milwaukee, but a great spot for Cleveland. Milwaukee's defense has been really bad this season. They play at a fast pace. Guards in particular have kind of shredded the Bucks ever since Damian Lillard got there. So Darius Garland looks like a terrific value on both sides, only 6.4 on FanDuel. I think Mitchell in tournaments looks really interesting, especially if he's going to be under-owned compared to Garland, which he should be. Other than that, you're kind of taking shots with guys on tournaments, Maxey, Van Vliet, Keontae George, maybe Tyler Hero a little bit. You can play on FanDuel, but it's pretty deep. Jordan Poole, another guy worth a mention. No Kyle Kuzma for the Wizards. Usage should be there for him. Don't love the matchup, but he does have a ceiling if his shots are going down.
Love the Tyrese Maxey call. He is one of my favorite plays on the slate today. Tim, who are you playing at point guard? Obviously in cash, you're playing Russell Westbrook, but what are you doing in tournaments? 60% owned is a lot, but as we can see in our SimLabs tool, a 73.4% optimal rate for Russell Westbrook on FanDuel tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be really hard to get away from Russ, which is, I did not think I'd be saying that in the year 2024. I mean, it's just like, it's pretty wild. It's definitely, he's just simply too cheap. I think I read in Taylor's Core Plays article today that he's like a 1.2 fantasy point per minute player. That's just amazing for 5,100. So he should definitely excel in this spot. I'm fine getting to that, I'm fine with getting to like 75% of him. If I was making 150, I would have him in 3 and 3 in a 3 max setting, and I would certainly play him in single entry and cash. So I think we have to consider Russell Westbrook as good chalk, as bizarre as that sounds, but I think I'm fine with that. I really like obviously I like the maxi call quite a bit. I do like Darius Garland at 6,400. I think he's a pretty good play. And if you play Garland and Westbrook, I mean, those are two pretty cheap guys. You have like so much money to pay up for, which might get you kind of away from like the super cheap. It kind of like leads you into like a more balanced build type of construction, which I like quite a bit tonight. You could go to guys like Westbrook, Garland, and then you could play your guys like Malik Monk and Keontae George, Colin Sexton, something like that, and just keep playing like mid-range guys. But if you do want to pay up, it's definitely going to be Tyrese Maxey for me. And I also like I don't mind James Harden, maybe not in a 3 max, but if I was playing multiple teams, I would definitely lean to some Harden.
Malik Monk is a guy that I'm really high on today as well. And take me to shooting guard, Tim, because that's a lot of these guys you can play at both of these positions.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of these guys you can really play at both positions. I think we got to talk about Keon Ellis. He is really cheap across. He's 3,900. So yeah, I mean Keon Ellis, he is projected to play high 20s minutes. He's like your value guy, definitely your cash game guy. Not really. I guess I don't really love him for large field. He's showing up with a little bit of negative leverage. He does have a pretty good opto rate for how cheap he is, but I just think he's gonna get super steamed in single entry and higher dollar single entry contests as well. So I don't know, but then again, so is Malik Monk. Malik Monk is showing up way over-owned. So I don't know. It's a pretty tough call between those two because they project really well and they're in a really good matchup. But like the Sims, they do not. They think that they are both really over-owned. I think some interesting pivots would be Bajemski at 6K for the Warriors. I really like Keontae George as a pivot off the chalkier Colin Sexton. I think that I think George can conceivably outscore Sexton and at a fraction of the ownership. So I really like that. I think Grady Dick is an interesting option as well. He's going to be around 12% owned. So I like him as a tournament flyer. So I don't know, like you're definitely playing like Ellis and Sexton and Monk in cash games, but I think you can get away from them in GPPs.
We got a lot of value on this slate, and DFS is all about value. This is the busiest time in the sports calendar, which means it's the perfect time to sign up for RotoGrinders Combo. For a limited time, get your first month of combo access for just $79.99. That's just $5 more than NBA Premium. Don't pass up this great value, and one of the great tools you get with that is SimLabs. And you can see as we transfer the screen share to SimLabs here, Keon Ellis is the highest optimal rate, but he is going a little over-owned. So, Taylor, what do you think about using him as a value play in tournaments? Who else do you like at shooting guard?
Yeah, he's super cheap, so I get why you'd play him, but I also don't really think he has a ton of upside. Like I said, he's not like a good per minute guy. He's not going to be a high source of usage for them. So I don't really think if you fade him, you're running the risk of him getting like 40 and completely, ruining your day. And there are a lot of alternatives. Like Tim was saying, I think Sexton looks good, even though he's chalky. I like the George call. Grady Dick, like he said as well. I mentioned Hero, even Malik Monk. Like if you play Monk without playing Ellis, I think that's still fine. Like Monk is a really good usage source typically. Even in limited-ish minutes, he can still get there. So I like that quite a bit. I don't mind Oubre either. Guard forward eligible, still starting with Paul George out for Philly. Mitchell, another one I like here you can play. I mentioned Bilal Koulibaly without Kuzma. He's up to 6K, so it's a little steep for him, but he does have upside. He has gotten a usage bump without Kuz. And then another value piece I kind of like a little bit is Christian Brown on FanDuel for 5-2, starting with KCP gone now. Maybe sees a little more usage without Murray, and he's not that expensive. So I think Brown is another way to. I mean, I don't think he's going to be like contrarian, but I think compared to Ellis, he certainly will be.
Somebody asking about Jared McCain. What do you think of him at 3,800?
I saw we only had him at like 17 minutes. I think you can do it in a large field tournament just as a pure pivot from Ellis, but Ellis is obviously the far safer option.
One guy I don't mind as a very sneaky shooting guard play today. It's pretty cheap as well as Dante DiVincenzo. I think he is pretty interesting for tournaments. But Taylor, take me to the small forward position. Who do you like there?
Yeah, another one you can play at shooting guard as well and small forward is Norm Powell. Didn't mention him, but usage has been steady for him with Kawhi out for the Clippers. I think he's okay. Small forward, it's a lot of the same stuff. Oubre, Brown, you can play here, but Caleb Martin is the one kind of popping as a good value. He's played a ton of minutes. He hasn't done a lot with them, but starting for Philly, I think he's second on the team in minutes behind only Maxey. So he's okay enough. It's kind of like a Keon Ellis situation where he has a super low floor, but I think it's okay. On the high end, I like KD quite a bit, even with Bradley Beal likely to play. KD for 9-1 in a really good matchup against the Blazers, I think stands out quite a bit. RJ Barrett, probably more so on DK, is going to be a standout. Still Toronto without Quickly, Scotty Barnes, Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk. He gets all the usage. The minutes should be there. A little concerned about the Raptors on a back-to-back with the Kings, but Sacramento did have to travel, so perhaps they can keep the game close enough to get full minutes for the regulars like Barrett and Pirtle. Still a good play tonight on FanDuel as well. And then in tournaments, maybe guys like Jalen Williams, Jeremy Grant, Devin Booker, stuff like that.
Tim, I expected to see RJ Barrett a lot higher owned, even on FanDuel at 7,900 here. Is he somebody you're playing in cash? And who else do you like at small forward?
Yeah, he's definitely a cash game viable. I'm glad that Taylor brought up Kelly Oubre. I meant to talk about him at shooting guard, but I prefer him at small forward anyway. I really like Kelly Oubre tonight. He's showing up in the optimals around 29% of the time. Pretty much a neutral play in the Sims right now, but I really do like him. I really like this matchup for Philadelphia against Memphis. So I'm really high on Oubre. I have him on my single entry team right now, so I really like him. I think Caleb Martin is like your safer play because he's a little bit cheaper. His minutes are extremely safe. Not the highest usage guy, but 5,300 is a really strong price. So yeah, I obviously love RJ Barrett. He's definitely a cash game play. I like him a little bit more on DK. I think he's going to be a little bit overowned. One person that I don't think we've really discussed is Bradley Beal. Showing up in optimals 20% of the time, only going to be 13% owned. He's small forward, shooting guard eligible, 6,600. So I think he's a really good standout play. He's a really strong pivot from some of these guys that we've mentioned for larger field tournaments. I think Jeremy Grant at 6,500 is another really strong GPP play, and I do like Michael Porter as well.
If you got any questions, drop them in the YouTube chat. Smash the like button if you're watching on YouTube, and get them in the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat, rotogrinders.com/Discord. I'll be going to the live stream chat. I will be looking there first for questions, and then I will be going to the YouTube chat after that. As soon as we're done going through position by position on both FanDuel and DraftKings, we will take some QQs. Tim, take us over to power forward.
Sure. Yeah. So I really like Aaron Gordon tonight at 6,200. I think FanDuel has him as a game time decision, but he's really probable, so I'm not worried about that at all. I think he's good to go. Caleb Martin, once again, strong cash game play. I think that I do have some interest in Draymond Green at 6,100. going up against Houston. If he can get like his full like around 30 minutes, I think he could pay off this price tag pretty easily. He really does well with FanDuel scoring. So I really like Draymond. I don't mind getting to a little bit of like Kevin Durant. We talked about at the high end. I don't mind that play. But power forward to me, it's not a great position. Like, guys like Sabonis are there. That's fine if you want to play them. Guys like Durant, that's fine. Obviously, Giannis is obviously fine. But, like, I don't really like paying up at any of these positions at power forward. I would like to stay, like, more in the balanced build approach.
Two guys that nobody really seems to ever want to play at the bottom of the screen here that I kind of typically like quite a bit. Santi Aldama, Jake LaRivia, two guys for Memphis that I think are some pretty high upside plays. Taylor, who do you like at power forward?
Yeah, I like those two. And then John Collins also right there at the bottom. Taylor Hendricks is out. Lowry Markin is out. It's going to be off the bench, probably behind Kyle Filipowski, but the minutes should still be high enough for him to be okay for the salary. I think Filipowski is a fine cheap play as well, assuming he starts again. He's been pretty good per minute so far, and he's cheap, so I think that's okay. Aaron Gordon is probable, so assuming he plays, but he's only 6'2". Could see a little more use to that. Murray, ditto for MPJ. I think those are fine plays. Don't think I'd be like super heavily over the field on them, but I do like them both a good amount. And then a lot of the same guys I mentioned at small forward: Durant, Grant, Jalen Williams. Sabonis is fine. It seems like no one's going to play Wemby on FanDuel, which is interesting since, we saw in the last game he kind of finally Wembied, and FanDuel credits you with 3 points for a block or steal. So Wemby, if you want to go all the way up, is pretty intriguing always.
All right, take me to the center position.
Yeah, I think the reason no one's going to play Wemby is because everyone's going to play Jokic instead, which makes a lot of sense. It's great matchup against Utah. No Murray. Usage is up to like 34% with Murray on the bench. He's playing huge minutes every night. He's a very easy play. Doug McDermott is starting for the Kings, and
that is so weird. That is so weird.
Yeah.
Is Doug McDermott now cash game viable, and is Keon Ellis X'd out of the pool?
Keon Ellis is definitely an X for me. I was going to say that's not gonna react in time, and he's still going to be a little steamed. He's not going to be chalky, I don't think, but I don't think you can play him. And then Doug McDermott is the min on both sides, I think.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I don't think I would.
So we had Doug for 5 minutes. What do we like? Maybe give him like 20 now, 18 to 20.
Yeah. Can't imagine.
Yeah, you got to think he becomes monk pretty quick.
Yeah.
Right.
With 3K and 3,500, does it matter?
I don't know. He might not do anything. Like all he does is shoot threes.
Yeah, I don't
want. He makes them all. You get the 3-point bonus on DraftKings.
I don't want to play. Yeah. I don't want to play monk.
Do you mean McDermott?
Yeah, I don't. Well, yeah, I meant McDermott. I don't want to play Ellis or McDermott.
Ellis has only been playing like less than 20 minutes off the bench so far, so I assume he's going to see something similar to that. This could also be like one of those Thunder situations where they start a guy and then the other guy starts the second half. Like that wouldn't be shocking at all if things go awfully for McDermott, but I don't really think you can play Keon Ellis now at all.
All right, I believe we need Tim's thoughts at center, and then we will pivot over to DraftKings.
Yeah, so the reason that I wanted everybody to kind of like stay at the bottom or more balanced was to play Jokic, who was absolutely a smash play. And even losing Ellis, you can still get to him pretty easily. So, I mean, you might have to like trim a little bit, from salary from a couple other guys, but it's really not that hard. He's absolutely by far the top center option. If you don't want to do that, I guess Jakob Poeltl would probably be my next favorite option. But really, I'm making Jokic priority. And then I do think that I think that somebody like Chet would also be pretty interesting in a large field just because that team has looked so amazing and he's not going to get any ownership at all. So, but really, I'm starting my team with Jokic, both cash and GPP.
All right, let's pivot over to DraftKings. Before we do that, nope, I didn't have up what I wanted to have up, so we'll do that after. Tim, take me to point guard over on DraftKings.
Yeah, right. So it's pretty similar. The guys that you want, like I absolutely love Tyrese Maxey in any format. I think he's in an absolutely fantastic spot. I think Darius Garland is way too cheap at 6,600. You can certainly play him in cash games, GPP, whatever you want to do. Those are my two favorite overall. Then I mean, we probably weren't going to play Ellis at point guard anyway, but I mean, if you want to go down, I don't mind Pajemski. I don't mind Mike Conley either. But really, Garland and Maxey would be my two favorite point guards.
Taylor, how about you?
Yeah, I would throw Donovan Mitchell in there, probably more so at shooting guard, but I don't think he's going to be as popular as he probably should be in this spot. De'Aaron Fox, always fine with any of those spends from the Kings. Pajemski, someone starting for Steph Curry. Not a good matchup against Houston, but he's been good in that role. Still a good price on him on DK as well. And that's really it. There's not quite as much to like at point guard on DK on the shorter slate. I guess you can play John Morant in a tournament, but still being held to around 30 minutes. Didn't matter last time, but kind of can't really bank on a triple-double in 26 minutes again.
All right, taking a shooting guard.
Tag Malik Monk over here on DK on the shorter slate. Just a very easy play at 5'2", shooting guard, small forward eligible for the obvious reasons. Donovan Mitchell, Pajemski over here as well. Moses Moody is still cheap. He's under 4K on DK. Minutes aren't great, but he has been starting. May not need more, though. I think Andrew Wiggins is back, and Wiggins is actually a decent tournament play, I think, at under 6K. Should see a bit more usage without Steph Curry. Grady Dick, a little more expensive, looks fine here. I was running some sims and got some Jacoby Walter for the Raptors, played 22 minutes out of nowhere last night. Think that's a little bit thin, but if you want to fire it off in a large field tournament, I think it's okay.
All right, Tim, how about you? Who do you like at shooting guard?
Yeah, now that we've lost Ellis, got to take a serious look at Jalen Wells at 4,900. Should play lower 30s minutes. The backcourt is pretty shorthanded, so I think he's a really, really strong play. He's shooting guard, small forward. Don't really mind if you play him at either one, but I mean he's decent value. Bleak Monk is still a decent value as well. Moses Moody, if you really need to get somebody like really, really cheap. I really like that Donovan Mitchell call by Taylor. I completely agree with that. I also don't mind somebody like Jalen Green, who's projecting for next to no ownership. He's definitely has a ceiling. Not the best matchup in the world, but I don't mind him for larger field. And then guys like I've already mentioned, like Pajemski, I like quite a bit, and Grady Dick also in that really strong game environment.
All right, take me to small forward.
So RJ Barrett, I think, is the clear and obvious choice here. He's going to be pretty high owned. Do we have Sims out for that yet, TJ? Do we see?
No, I just refreshed, and it still has Ellis at the top.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I mean, he might show up over owned. I'm not sure, but I think he's a really spectacular play. So I'm playing him in cash and in single entry GBP. I like Kelly Oubre quite a bit as well. I already talked about him on FanDuel. DeMar DeRozan is in a really strong spot, 7,600. He's going to be half the ownership as Barrett, and he's only $300 more. So I think he would be an interesting like price point pivot off of Barrett if you wanted to get a little bit of DeRozan exposure. Jalen Wells, like I mentioned, Agbaji at 4,800 is decent as well. I think those are pretty much all the people I'm considering right now.
$500 away from the team I want. I'm trying to make one while we're on the show. because I've been out in the all afternoon, but nothing working exactly how I want it to yet. Taylor, who do you like at small forward?
RJ Barrett for sure, and then Malik Monk as well. Caleb Martin still cheap on DK. Ditto for Grady Dick starting for the Raptors. I do like the DeRozan call. He's got revenge as well against the Raptors in this game.
How many times have you done that?
Could be reasonable revenge, you know. They traded him away and they won a championship.
Yeah.
Right.
If anyone has the right to be vengeful, like 5 years later, it's DeMar DeRozan for sure. Doug McDermott projections updated, and they have him at 24 minutes. Only like 16 DK points, but he's 3K flat. I think if you're playing cash, then you probably just do that. In a tournament, I'm still probably not going to play him. I don't really see him burning me. So he will make 8 threes now, but if you want to do that, I think it's okay. It's not the greatest position either.
All right, take me to power forward, Taylor.
Yeah, so Giannis is a lot more in play on DK because of the shorter slate. The matchup against Cleveland is rough, but Giannis is Giannis, and he's been kind of the one good Milwaukee player so far this season, so not unreasonable to think that can continue. Caleb Martin, I mentioned at small forward. Tim mentioned Draymond on FanDuel. I think he's a good play on DK as well. Aldama over here too, Jake LaRavia. Those two cheap Grizzlies look pretty good. One of my favorite tournament plays is Julius Randle. I don't really think the Minnesota guys are going to get owned at all, even on the short DK slate. And Randle has a ceiling. The minutes have been pretty steady. I think he looks really good as a differentiator in a tournament. And Evan Mobley but I prefer Randle in that range too.
All right, Tim, how about you? Who do you like power forward?
Yeah, it's a good call on Giannis by Taylor. It's a completely different slate on DK because raw points are really going to matter a lot more on DK. So you're not as worried about points per dollar on DraftKings. So Giannis rates out as a much stronger play on DraftKings. I'm not getting to him, but if people want to do that, by all means, and go late that Dougie Giannis build, that's fine. I'm personally not doing it, but I don't think it's horrible if you do that. I really like Draymond Green quite a bit. That's who I currently have right now. Caleb Martin, he's another really strong cash game GPP play. I think that Lindy Waters is a really, really interesting GPP play. He's going to play around 20 minutes at 3,700. I think that's decent. I already brought up DeRozan. I like the Randall call quite a bit. And I think that's it. This Doug situation for cash games is pretty interesting. I don't think I'm going to play him in cash, but I wouldn't fault anybody if they do.
Fair. Take me to center.
Yeah. So
wait,
center,
Taylor, did you do power forward yet? No, you didn't.
He did.
Well,
I think.
Oh, yeah, we did. We both did.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah. Then take me to center.
Yeah, so Jakob Poeltl, 6,900. I think he rates out as just a fantastic play today. Obviously, 6,900. I think that's really, really easy for him to pay that off. If you don't want to go the chalky route, then there's some good pivots. I don't think many people are going to play Andre Drummond, but I think he could absolutely crush in this spot. I don't mind Sabonis, obviously, in that really great game environment. Jared Allen, I think, is in a really good spot as well. So, but this is not. I would not punt center. I wouldn't go any lower really than Drummond. That Drummond Poeltl range, I wouldn't go any lower than that.
So you're saying I should not have Naz Reid in my center position right now?
I really wouldn't do that, but I don't want to cost you $100,000 on some weird lineup.
There wasn't even. There was only small contests left anyway, so it's super duper low stakes.
Yeah.
Taylor, who do you like?
I would just so much rather play him at power forward every time, So
yeah, I like Aldama there. Fine.
Yeah.
It's low stakes. Don't worry about my lineup. It's really not going to make or break anything tonight.
The Poeltl, obviously Poeltl looks great again. Giannis, Jared Allen looks fine. as a part of that Cleveland game. One guy who's not going to get owned at all is Şengün. Like, he's been kind of weak since the first game. It's been Jalen Green ever since, but you never know when it's going to flip back and be a Şengün game. Might as well happen tonight against Golden State. I think in tournaments he looks really strong. Draymond again, Wembanyama again, not going to be owned on DK, but perhaps he should be a little bit. That probably does it. Beyond Pirtle, it's a lot of crap shooting going on.
All right. Well, I think it is about time to take it to some QQs. Who were you wanting to check for optimal percentage? It has adjusted now, Tim.
It has adjusted.
Yeah.
How's RJ Barrett simming on DK? I'm curious.
Let's check it out. Small forward, RJ Barrett, 32% optimal, 41.5% ownership percentage. So he has the highest optimal rate, but he's going over owned according to Sim projections.
Yeah, it's not terrible. It's a pretty decent opto rate. But he's going to be super, super popular in single entry stuff.
We got a lot of great stats here, and some of the brand new ones is shot quality. And if you want access to some of the most advanced NBA data in the market, get shot quality projections for Lineup HQ. Rotogrinders.com/shot quality. You can get 1 month of access for $40 or yearly for $200. Just want to give it a test run. Try 3 days for $19.99. I got the shot quality projections up here. That's what we've been using so far when we've been looking at these players in Lineup HQ. So definitely check out the new shot quality projections. Looking at some QQs, going to the Discord first. We got about 12 minutes to lock. So lots and lots of time. Get your questions in about what you should have for dinner, who you should play in NBA, who you should play in NFL tomorrow. Get them all in. QQ, FanDuel single entry, Tim. Rank these players. Jimmy Butler, RJ Barrett, DeMar DeRozan.
So Butler last. I think DeRozan is a really decent pivot off of Barrett. So I might put DeRozan 1A and then Barrett 1B.
On that note, they said, should they just play all three? Do you like the idea of pairing DeRozan and Barrett together? Maybe leaving out Butler, but pairing DeRozan and Barrett for a little skinny stack.
No, I don't mind that skinny stack at all. I'm not really that high on Butler. I know it's a good matchup, but I would much rather just skinny stack DeRozan and Barrett.
Yeah, I like that as well. All right, switching back to the YouTube chat. Favorite center on FanDuel, Taylor, and what are your thoughts on EJ?
Okay.
I think somebody's maybe
center.
just. So I think somebody is calling me EJ as opposed to TJ because it said good call on Rudy last night. He's talking in the chat. This is. I'm not even going to answer your question.
Talking about Eric.
That's what do you? That is. I mean, hey, to each their own. Spend your money the way you want to spend your money. Could I pivot from Ellis to Ty Jerome in a GPP? What do you think, Taylor?
I don't think so. I think you got to rebuild. I don't think Ty Jerome is the answer. The other question was about favorite FanDuel center. It's Jokic by a lot.
No, they don't even get to. You don't even get to answer it because he wasn't. He asked EJ as well. His guy EJ, and so we're not getting our
EJ
answer.
said Jokic then.
Somebody asking about Keon Ellis. No, we're not playing Keon Ellis because he's not starting anymore, and so Ellis is totally off the board today. Ty Jerome and Grady Dick, or Ellis and Podziemski, Tim?
It's the first one.
Small field DK, Draymond and Conley, or Santi Aldama and Monk, Taylor?
What was the first one again? Draymond and Conley? Not that one.
Yeah.
The other one.
Yeah, I love the Santi Monk side a lot better there. How many Derek Carr lineups am I going to have out of 150 tomorrow? We'll see. I don't think I'm going to be playing 150 lineups. I'm going to be producing and hosting Crunch Time tomorrow, so I may just play one. Favorite GPP value at the forward positions, at small forward and power forward, Tim?
For which site?
FanDuel.
Okay. Favorite values, small forward, power forward. I I guess Caleb Martin. I don't mind Christian Brown either. So I guess one of those two. I think those two would be my two favorite.
Taylor, Monk or Nas Reed, straight up.
Still Monk, but I think Nas Reed at low ownership is still interesting enough.
Favorite utility, 5,300 or less, Tim, over on DraftKings, which interestingly enough, I think my two favorites, 5,300 and under, are Nas Reed and Malik Monk.
Yeah, I mean they're both strong plays. Yeah, I mean I really have no issue with that, either one of those. I think I'm trying to see projected ownership. Given the ownership, I might go with Reed here, just because Monk's going to get some ownership.
Taylor, what are your thoughts on playing both Maxey and Donovan Mitchell in a lineup?
I like it.
Tim, what are your thoughts on Nickeil Alexander-Walker at 3,500?
Yeah, I mean everybody's like so desperate to like not rebuild their lineups after the Ellis news. I don't really like that much.
Tim, who do you got, or Taylor, who do you got for your favorite mid-range power forward on FanDuel?
Mid-range meaning like 7K ish.
Yeah, let's say 5 to 8K.
5 to 8K.
Ooh.
Randall is Randall.
Aldama is not starting, but Jake LaRivia is.
Huh.
Laravia, huh?
Yeah.
Randall's my
starting.
favorite mid-range power forward for what it's worth.
He was Larivia was already projected for 30 minutes. So, I mean, how many more minutes is he going to get now?
Yeah, I don't know. I got him in there though.
Yeah,
I'm putting him in my lineup instead, which means can I afford Darius Garland? Oh, I'm $100 away from affording Darius Garland. We're gonna have to fix something up over here. I like Jake LaRavia as a play a lot now on both sides. I already did before, but I like him even more, I think. Aldama, I still think is somewhat playable though, coming off the bench. DK GPPs, Tim, who do you like better, DiVincenzo or Wells?
I would go Wells.
FanDuel large field. Who do I go with? Sam Merrill, Julian Strother. Same price, neither, but Julian Strother. Do we like Zubats in a FanDuel single entry GPP, Taylor? What do you think?
I think, yeah, you can do that in a single entry. He's been awesome, and no one's going to play him. So I like that.
DK GPP, Tim, Mobley, Triple J, or Jakob Poeltl?
Poeltl.
Can you play Poeltl and Barrett together in a DK single entry? Yes, absolutely.
Yes, that's a really great. Sorry.
No, yeah, I agree. Same page. Really two strong plays today. 6,400 or less in the utility position on DraftKings, Taylor. They already have Kelly Oubre.
6,400 or less. Draymond. Sadly.
It is quite sad. With the 2v2 I just made with the LaRavia starting news, I switched LaRavia and DiVincenzo I switched Aldama and DiVincenzo to LaRavia and Podziemski, and I think I like that combination quite a bit better. That's it for DraftKings. Switching it back to YouTube, would you play Brown, Westbrook, and Jokic all together in one lineup on FanDuel, Tim?
I think you can. Yes.
Who's your most expensive player in each of your single entry lineups today?
So DK, I'm going super balanced, and I think actually Barrett is my most expensive player on DK, and then FanDuel it's Jokic.
Yeah, if I were playing FanDuel, it would be Jokic for me there too. On DraftKings, it's Tyrese Maxey for me. How about you, Taylor?
DK, it's probably Donovan Mitchell, actually, in my favorite lineup.
Nas Reed or Laravia, DK Cash, Tim.
Laravia.
Mitchell and Maxi or Mitchell and Wembanyama. So I guess it's just Mitchell either way, Maxi or Wemby, and that's got to be Wemby. Unless are there two different Mitchells on the slate that are priced differently?
Davion.
That seems like too big of a price difference. If that for some reason is Davion, it's absolutely the Donovan and Maxi side. If they're both Donovan, then you're taking Wemby over Maxi for sure. And anybody else like Nickeil Alexander-Walker over Ellis? I don't think we really like either of them. We're not playing Ellis, and Alexander-Walker, I guess, is at least cheaper. He's not starting, though, so we are not playing Keon Ellis today anymore. Who's your favorite Okongwu, Tim? Chig or Onyeka?
Yeah. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you.
Chig Okongwu for the tight end for the Tennessee Titans, or Onyeka Okongwu, the power forward / center for the Atlanta Hawks? Who do you trust more in fantasy?
Neither one of them are really on my radar, to be honest with you.
Taylor, is it fine to play Mitchell and Garland together in the same lineup?
On DK, yeah, where it's a short slate, I would still do that probably.
2 minutes left to lock. Make sure you get your lineups in. It looks like we have reached we've hit all the questions, all the QQs have been hit, so we are good to go on that front. If you got any last minute ones, get them in, but make sure you lock in those lineups because we are about a minute and a half from lineup lock on DraftKings and FanDuel. Taylor, who breaks the slate tonight?
Let's say Julius Randle.
Tim, what about you?
I'm going to say Oubre goes for 50 DK points.
Love that. I'm going to go with Tyrese Maxey. I put in the expert survey. I think he goes for 45 plus real points tonight. Maybe even drops a 50 burger of real points. Nas Reed and Sabonis or RJ Barrett and Jarrett Allen, Taylor?
First one.
All right. Final question in the Discord chat. DK GPPs, what do you think of Keegan Murray, Tim?
I don't love it. I guess like as a last piece, he's okay.
All right. And with that will take us right up to lock here. There is 15 seconds left according to my DraftKings countdown. Is Conley okay for a cheap PG in DK big GPPs? I saw you answered that before in chat saying yes, Tim. Taylor, what do you think about Conley today?
Yeah, he's okay. I never loved that, but it's fine.
Never like him, but his price tag is getting so cheap that it's just becoming very tempting. And with that, we have reached lock. Thank you so much for joining us today, everyone. We will be back bright and early, 6:30 a.m. Pacific, 9:30 Eastern for NFL Grinders Live with Tim, Dean, and Bobby. Then we got some GPP final takes coming with Neil and Eric. And then taking you right up to lock, it's going to be myself and Britt. So make sure you tune in for some more NFL content tomorrow. And then we will be back for more NBA on Monday. Thank you very much for joining us, everyone. And we will be back next week. We'll see you then.